Good evening, and welcome back to Markers and Monsters. As always, I am your host, Colin, and we have a terrific storm brewing outside today. What a great time to draw some classic spooky monsters. Today we're going to be doing Dracula, famously portrayed by Bela Lugosi in the 1931 film Dracula, which is one of the beginnings of the Universal Monsters horror cycle. Dracula and Frankenstein were the first two, and it's very clear in rewatching these movies why they are so legendary. But let's focus specifically on Dracula. Lugosi's performance, which is very slow and full of menace and kind of an otherworldliness, is remarkable, I feel, even today. I'm extremely excited to be drawing him for you now. Now, I'm kind of going off of just a pause screen on my TV. I know there's a picture that kind of looks like this with his collar up, but I'm just trying to get Lugosi's face here from actually a VHS copy of Dracula, so we'll see how it comes out. Now, I'd like to talk to you briefly about the process here of drawing. As you could kind of see, I started with an oval shape for the face, and that's any kind of drawing starts from very rough and loose, and details get filled in later. I'm going to be doing this drawing in pure black and white using cool gray markers. Now, cool gray, as opposed to warm or neutral gray, have kind of a bluish tint in them. It leaves them on, obviously, the cool side of the color spectrum, which I feel represents, like at least the VHS copy I'm watching, the grainy black and white that you see on a lot of the older films. Now, a warm gray gives almost more of a sepia tone, which is great. I felt cool gray would give an unearthly grave-like chill to Mr. Lugosi here. I'm also going to keep this video relatively short, as I've been extremely busy lately with all kinds of stuff. I'm pretty much knee-deep in the convention season here. I've just had 2 conventions in the past 3 weeks. I've got one this weekend, and the weekend after that is the Monster Bash up in Mars, Pennsylvania, where I live. This is one of my favorite shows of each year, as it is a classic horror and classic monster movie convention. It's going to take place here, June 23rd, 24th, and 25th of 2017, and it is at the Doubletree Hotel in Mars, Pennsylvania. So if you're into classic monsters, definitely get there and look for me. I'll have the big green sign. Yeah, one of my favorite conventions. You get to meet a lot of cool older stars of these movies, the ones that are still around at any rate, and just a lot of people that are very into their classic monsters, Universal especially. As you can see here, I started with the darkest darks, which would be in Mr. Lugosi's hair and his cape, and, eyebrows, and then from there I started to add in the darker shadows, and I'm basically working dark to light. The darkest areas of the face and the body and that get filled in first, and then light on top. I'm also making sure that I go over the darkest areas with the light to kind of blend and smooth those dark areas just a little bit better. I feel it adds a little bit of a smoothness, which you definitely want on a portrait. If you're doing something with hard edges like a robot or a tank or something like that, then you can let your edges kind of brush up against each other. But here, try to smooth them as much as you can. So I'm putting in just the briefest little outline of his tie, his collar, that kind of stuff. And in the background, I'm going to put like a misty, foggy scene in. Nothing special, but just enough. And once again, I'm going to be going from dark to light, kind of filling in here these little edges here near his face to get around them. Then going in with the dark, just kind of dabbing and dotting to give that smoky, misty effect. I'm going to go over the whole thing again with different shades of lighter, cool grays, and that'll help to blend and smooth and kind of give that impression. which is really cool. And the last thing I'm going to do, as you'll see here, is give him piercing red eyes. I start with an orange and I go in with kind of a deeper red. Now on the scan and in the video, it doesn't show up quite as crisply as it does in person. I've tried to color correct a little bit, but there's not much I can do about that. Hey, if you want to see his glowing eyes in person, you'll just have to come by the Monster Bash here and check it out. So now I'm going to start the inking, and this is a pretty easy, straightforward ink job. Bold, thick lines, especially on the top of the head here, and then just kind of filling in the details. I'm not over inking. I do not want to over ink on him because I feel a lot of the details and stuff will get lost in the smoothness of the skin. So just a couple little bits here and there on the cheekbones, around the eyes, to pop those out, to define the his clothing and stuff like that. Real nice and easy, and again, very straightforward. Now, the Universal Monsters, I know, have not been getting a ton of love lately in the mainstream. There's very few people that are still really, really into these movies. I am one, and if you are too, drop me a comment. I'd love to chat about Universal horror and stuff like that. I'd like to do more of these black and white Universal Monsters as well. Maybe do them each with an individual color, like the Creature from the Black Lagoon in black and white, but with green eyes. Or maybe the Mummy with nice yellow eyes. It's always fun to do, and there's so many different Universal Monsters to choose from. Do you choose the Boris Karloff mummy? Do you choose the Lon Chaney mummy? Do you do the Glenn Strange Frankenstein? All that kind of stuff makes it a lot of fun to draw these individual characters. I'm really hoping that the new Mummy movie that's coming out, the Universal Mummy reboot, is pretty good, as that starts their dark universe. Reviews have been very, we'll say, mixed to start. But I'm really hoping it's good, you guys, and I'm hoping the whole dark universe is great, because these Universal horror, this stuff is classic and absolutely essential for any horror fan to love. So I'm wrapping up here. Let's take a look at the scan. Let me just put some highlights in, and there we go. Very cool, very cool. I really had a lot of fun with this. It was actually a quick drawing. I hope I got Mr. Lugosi's visage pretty well. I don't know, you guys could be the judge of that. I tried my best here. But in a quick drawing like that, without really studying something, it can be a little tricky. But either way, I had fun. I could talk about Dracula all day, so I decided to keep this video just a little bit short. I'd like to do a bigger talk about Dracula someday, but just don't have the time right now. So, quick video for you guys. More will be coming soon, so stay tuned. Check me out on social media. Here's all my social media stuff. And that's it. We'll see you on the next episode of Markers and Monsters.